Tony Celzo here. Welcome to the Zip Line, sponsored by String Can. Hey, we got an honor here today. We got Gary Nowicki with Ace of Sales, great Gittimer kind of sponsored CRM tool here. Gary, you know, how did you get into this business? I know you're not a tech guy. I know you're an old sales hat. So what the heck happened here, man?
First and foremost, thanks for having me, Tony. This is a great pleasure. Actually, this whole thing started, it started out about 4 years ago when the average person didn't know what Facebook was.
Right.
So we felt like there was a disconnect the way people talk, communicate, how you engage people. So that's really where this whole platform originated from.
And so the platform is a couple things. You got a web-based CRM, right? You've got an email marketing tool. And then you've also got the ability to track, but not only track, an education platform there that's got really all of Gittimer stuff showcased right in there, so you can learn, you can work, and then you can get better almost every day. Is that fair, or correct me if I'm wrong?
No, you're correct, Tony. You know, the platform was designed as an execution tool. You know, there's approximately 700,000 people in the United States alone with 20 or less employees. So that's really our target market, because they don't have big budgets, they don't have big dollars. But if you're a salesperson, you're trying to figure out, how can I get back to somebody real fast, real quick? Right. So that's what Ace of Sales is all about. You drop people in a database, and then you can send graphics, and the whole thing is how to differentiate yourself. So, you know, incorporate a picture of yourself or your logo.
So the average sales guy out there who's running a business, let's say that they're less than $1 million in revenue, right? They're out there, you know, knocking it down every day. They're making the sales calls. They're hitting the networking events. They're showing up at a client meeting. They're trying to retain their current clients. You mean they're not actually touching their people enough in order to build a relationship? Is it getting harder today than it used to be 10 years ago?
Well, the reality, Tony, is back when you started and when I started, when you called somebody, they actually returned your phone call.
Right.
So with today's environment, nobody's returning phone calls, nobody's returning emails.
Right.
So it keeps going back down to the same premises. How do you build a relationship?
You know, we talk a lot with our clients of what has changed in selling over the last 30 years. You know, you didn't have search engine optimization, you didn't have text marketing, you didn't have Facebook, you didn't have LinkedIn, you didn't have Twitter, you didn't have all the noise. And not only that, Gary, you didn't have all the different kinds of businesses that are competing after the same dollars. It really is coming down to the strength of your relationship and how do you build them. And that's really what you guys are all about, isn't it?
It is. You know, Tony, you've heard this before. When all is equal, people want to do business with you.
Right.
So I don't, even if you're a chiropractor or a doctor, you're still competing with 20 or 30 doctors in the same space. So, you know, once again, just to have a tool that makes you different from everybody else, just something a little different.
So Gary, I got to ask you, Gittimer's one of my idols. He's just a great, phenomenal sales trainer. How did you hook up with that crazy guy?
My relationship with Jeffrey probably goes back about 8 years ago. Okay. And I met him, I read his books, and I've been a big fan for a long time. And Jeffrey happens to live here in Charlotte, North Carolina. I bumped into him at a bagel store.
No kidding.
And so we kind of connected, and then we really had a really good conversation. Mm-hmm. And then what he told me at the end of the conversation, he said, you said a couple things that are interesting to me. How about if I write an article in the business journals? Okay. So Jeffrey was writing for all the business journals at the time. And so he wrote an article about me. Fast forward, 3 years ago, we kind of reconnected building this platform.
Wow, awesome. Gary,
so, you know,
go ahead.
I was going to say the theory of Jeffrey is, you know, having the fan base that he has globally. Right. Was the immediate attraction for us to want to do business with somebody like Jeffrey Gittimer. Right. And then secondly, Jeffrey added so many applications into Ace of Sales that really it makes it a really valuable tool.
So when you say CRM to a sales guy, right, you start to say that, you start to use that dialogue, which kind of gets the eye roll, right? The VP of sales wants me to spend all this time updating my contact, giving my history, giving a reporting tool. To most sales guys, historically, when I've been coaching over the years, it comes back to them about thinking about somebody being in control of them. In reality, what is about your CRM that allows them to be more effective? What are the 3 most important things that you really have made sure are disciplined in your software?
Well, one thing when you use the term CRM, Tony, we're kind of a hybrid of such.
Okay.
We don't really want to be in that category of CRMs because CRMs really do a great job of populating information, but they don't really help you sell anything. So that's the space that we're really trying to differentiate ourselves is, you know, Ace of Sales is a tool for a salesperson, not a marketing person, not an IT person. Okay. So they can, it takes less than 5 minutes to sign up. You just populate your database and you're off and running. You really don't even need an IT department to get involved. And I think one of the things that I hear from you is that it's the ease of use, but you also have got in there the disciplines of good selling. You're there helping those people create a program to stay in front of their prospects, their suspects, and really their target market beyond. Well, it's I'll take an example. You go to a trade show. Right. And people, you meet a lot of people at a trade show. You probably have only about 10 engaging conversations. So you drop somebody into database, and it's a really fast way of following up with somebody. So if you're trying to engage somebody, and it reads all personalized. So it'd be like, hey, Tony, thanks for stopping by our booth yesterday. Hey, by the way, you talked about this product and this product. When do you think the campaign's going to start? Give me a little information. Let's get you started. So when the recipient gets that type of email, they're going to, because it reads personalized, it's a good, engaging email, so somebody's going to want to respond to you. So one of the huge benefits I see about being a member of Ace of Sales is the content that they have access to, the training that Jeffrey gives them. Is that really one of the big differentiators in your mind? It is. It's follow-up, 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 and I mean, it's just one of the basic tools when you're trying to sell somebody. You got to follow up. And it sends you little pop-up reminders to follow up to people, or you can communicate to groups. There's graphics in there. So if you meet somebody and they say something a little bit different, incorporate a graphic with it. Right. You know, it's kind of a good little talking point. The money's in the follow-up, isn't it? Gary, one last thing. You're out there, you got a chance to speak to our tribe. Same kind of tribe that you're talking to, the guys that are out there trying to break through $1 million in revenue. What is the one thing that you know that they need to do, the one system they need to implement in their business to grow their revenue? Ace of Sales. You heard it here. I'm sorry? You heard it here. Yes. No, I'm sorry, Tony. No, really, it's something that it's very basic, and salespeople really have to follow up. I mean, it's people really have to ask good, engaging questions. People really have to differentiate themselves and just follow up, meet needs and expectations. Yeah, amen. It's all in the fundamentals. Gary Nowicki, you've been on the zip line. We appreciate having you, brother. Thanks so much for showing up and following up. Okay, thanks, Tony. Appreciate it. You too.